We began with an attack on a Ukrainian hospital drawing international outrage.
This was the aftermath of a Russian airstrike on a maternity and children's hospital. The ground shook more than a mile away when the complex was hit with a series of blasts that blew out the windows. 17 people were hurt there, including women who were about to give birth. The strike happened in the port city of Mariupol, all despite a ceasefire agreement to allow people to leave the besieged city.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the strike trapped children under the rubble, calling the siege beyond an atrocity. He is now urging the West to impose even tougher sanctions. Russia has denied targeting civilians, but the World Health Organization says Ukraine has seen at least 18 attacks on health facilities. Observers say the Russians are turning to so-called dumb bombs, which result in higher civilian casualties.
CBS News reporter Skylar Henry live at the White House with the very latest. Skylar?
Hey, Sarah and Ryan, good to see you. Well, we're also learning that the White House says that Russia could also possibly use biological or chemical weapons in Ukraine as well, which is certainly new information. And just in the last 30 minutes, a U.S. official estimates that Russia has lost somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 troops just in the first few weeks of battle. Certainly significant. Still, however, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky continuing to ask Western allies for support in this fight against Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tweeted out video he says shows evidence of a Russian strike on a maternity hospital.
Russia's aggression has already killed and injured innocent people and forced more than 1.5 million Ukrainians to flee their country.
Zelensky once again called on the West to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine, something NATO says it won't do. The U.S. also shot down a Polish plan to give Ukraine Russian-made jets, but only if they are first delivered to Germany and then flown from a U.S. base to Ukraine.
I think it's pretty clear it doesn't require a military expert to understand why having planes fly from a U.S. airbase into a contested part of a country where there is a war is not in our interest and not in NATO interests.
President Biden tweeted out that he's looking to Congress to pass an additional $12 billion in funding to send weapons and humanitarian relief to Ukraine. President Zelensky thanked the U.S. for banning Russian oil, but admonishment doesn't stop with government sanctions. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Starbucks, and other corporations have all announced they are halting sales in Russia.
The fact that the Russian people aren't being told the truth, but they will be seeing now by the fact that shops are closing, they're not able to get the goods that they were able to get, exactly the implications that Putin's aggression is in Ukraine is having for Russia.
Social media showed people lining up at McDonald's in Moscow before the store closes.
In Skylar, the House is considering to vote on a spending bill that will provide aid to Ukraine. So where does that spending bill actually stand?
Well, I'm happy you asked, Ryan, that we're actually getting new information now that the House passed a rule providing for consideration of the omnibus Russia sanctions bill, COVID relief, all of those things. That's all happening right now. Now is the debate process to try to get this bill passed. A lot of back and forth has been going on today about where COVID relief would stand in this major bill. Remember, this is a $1.5 trillion relief package that lawmakers are trying to get passed before Friday because it also includes measures that would keep the government open as well. Don't know if that COVID part will stay in there. We know that the money for Ukraine is something that both lawmakers on both sides of the aisle agree to, and they want that to be in place. It's just a matter of when they would actually get all of this passed, obviously with this deadline soon coming up. Guys.